talk about this. So here we go. Myths versus facts, how it works. I say a statement. My panelist says myth or fact. They tell us why. We'll keep it kind of boom, 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 boom. And we'll go from there. We're going to get through as many of these as we can. Love it. Here we go. Dr. Kovar, you're the first one. Myth or fact. That vaping children remix. Here we go. With vaping, you're just inhaling water vapor.
That would be a myth.
Please explain.
So as we kind of talked about earlier, the flavorings and the THC, there's different components in there. There's other things we don't even know about. And so as things are getting aerosolized, you're not vaping water, you're vaping an aerosol.
Thank you very much. Here we go, Dr. Weiner. Myth or fact? The people trying to sell vaping are positioning the e-cigarette as safer, healthier alternatives to tobacco smoking.
Fact that they are positioning it that way. Myth that it actually, so it is, there is some fact, there is some fact to that. But it's, again, one of those things where it's varying degrees of negative.
It's a fine line between.
And you know what, I want to say this quickly. I know we're going fast, but I want to say, we hear a lot, like takeaway flavors, we're going to drive people back to
traditional cigarettes, that's what they say.
Let me tell you, if you don't want to smoke, I've got Chantix for you, 𝐓𝐡𝐚𝐭 for you, Nicorette for you, cognitive behavioral therapy for you, hypnosis for you. There's so many things you can do other than smoke. So I just want to put that out.
There you go. Hey, that was the next myth versus facts. But it's all good though. I'm still going to say it anyways because I want to get this.
Give it to me. I got the answer right there.
Here we go. Dr. Kovar, myth or fact. Vaping is the best option for those who want to quit smoking.
I'm going to say that's a myth.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then that's the thing is there's different medicines out there, and the Chantix and Nicorette. There are other things out there if you need to have your nic fix. You can get them other ways and things that would be a little bit safer than, or a lot of it safer than vaping.
I agree. I tell that to a lot of my patients that are looking to get off of traditional cigarettes that there are alternatives to vaping to get them there. We can help them along the way and have them have complete success on smoking cessation. Here we go, Dr. Weiner. Here we go. Vapes do not contain nicotine. Myth or fact?
I
think we dispelled that.
So both. So some might not have it there, but for the most part, for the vast majority of them, they do that or THC.
All right, thank you very much. Here we go, Dr. Kovar. I like this one. Many states, municipalities, even the federal government have initiated or are in the process of initiating legislation to restrict sales of flavored e-cigs because of the growing concerns about spiking e-cig use among U.S. youth. Myth or fact?
That is a fact.
Please explain.
They're trying to do that, and as we talked about earlier, Dr. Weiner said down in Springfield, they're trying to get rid of some of the flavors. But as was also said, one of the main flavors that kids go for is mint. So.
Fair enough. Excellent. Thank you. Dr. Weiner, myth or fact? Only illicit THC products have been linked to vaping-related illness cases and deaths.
That is a myth. Actually,
please explain.
So 2 deaths in Oregon have been linked to dispensary-provided THC products, and 20% of all cases haven't involved THC at all. This is really a very broad thing. It would be misleading to say that they haven't focused on illicit ones, and most of them are in the illicit market, but there are plenty of cases that have come from legally sold products as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Here we go. Dr. Kovar, I like this. We're going through this list. I like this list. Here we go. Myth or fact? For the most part, a cigarette is a cigarette. Vape products can be widely different.
I'm going to kind of put that as more of a fact, but because cigarettes, there's a bunch of garbage in cigarettes. I mean, there's different types of cigarettes, so menthol versus non-menthol. But vapes, there's so many different things, and because different shops can have different combinations and different flavors, there's so much variation in those. It's definitely going to be more than just your traditional cigarette.
Excellent. Here we go, Dr. Weiner. I like this one. Vaping can lead to smoking, aka there is a quote gateway effect. Myth or fact?
That is a fact. One of the most supported conclusions for youth from the National Academies of Science and Engineering and Medicine was that if you're vaping, you're more likely to start smoking, and then when you smoke as a kid, you smoke more than you otherwise would because you're already addicted to the nicotine.
I was going back before the show that before we went on air, Dr. Kovar and I were talking about how people tend to minimize all the time. Going back to our days in residency, and you work with people that were smoking traditional cigarettes, and they say, hey, I do a pack a day, and you always multiply it by 2. Or if they did, so it was actually 2 packs a day, they just want to minimize it because they don't want to maybe feel the shame that us as clinicians would do. And same thing with like people that drink, how many drinks you have per day, and they say 1, they're double the number. So I have to say that if you ask a kid and say, how many times are you hitting the vape pen each day? First of all, I don't even know if they're counting because they do it so often. Yeah. But I figured that people will probably minimize their vape use. All right, here we go. A couple more of these. Dr. Kovar, here it is. Vaping is a young person problem.
again, kind of a yes and no. Definitely more young people are doing it. Obviously, older people can, but definitely majority of kids are going to be in their in their teens and early 20s.
Excellent. Yeah, most of my patients, I think about it because I see adults. Yes, my younger kids, I try to get them to stop vaping and talk about it. My older people, you know, my 70-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 50, 80-year-olds, whatever, they're still smoking. They're still smoking traditional cigarettes. So there's no doubt about that. I only think I have one patient of mine who has openly admitted to me that she vapes, and she's like 55 or so. All right, here we go. Last one, myth versus fact. Dr. Weiner, I like this one for you. This is a good one to end it with. Everyone knows about vaping.
Everyone knows about vaping. I think a lot of people know about vaping. So maybe this is myth, but people don't know actually about. Like there's hopefully your listeners got something out of this program that they didn't already know. I know when I give presentations, people learn things because there's a lot of medical information that is not being pushed out by the industry because they don't want it. One quick thing to end with on that note.
Please.
There was a study that came out actually in a Danish medical journal that was looking at studies out of Europe and found that 95% of studies that were funded by the vaping industry found that there was less harm in vaping than studies that were not funded by the industry. So this is big tobacco all over again. So what people think they know, the strongest messages are oftentimes the ones with the dollar signs behind them. And you know, us here, like we don't have billions of dollars behind us. So we just have to speak as loudly as we can.
And we're going to speak as we can and tell the truth and tell the facts. So there you go, myth versus facts, that Baby Children remix. So we got about 5 minutes left, guys.